This video series focuses on the elements of design: lines, shapes, forms, spaces, textures, and color. This video focuses specifically on spaces. There are 9 videos in this series. Be sure to start by watching the introduction and then come back to this video. Printable sketchbook pages are included. Start by printing this information page about space and add it to your sketchbook. Complete all of the art exercises for space to explore different ways that we use this element of design in artwork. When we think of space, sometimes we think of emptiness or nothingness. So how can this be an element of design? As artists, we can give shape or form to the spaces that are in between and around our subjects. We can design these spaces to be important parts of our works of art. Let's take a closer look at spaces. Recall that a line begins with a point. Lines can describe the edges of shapes and forms. Shapes are 2-dimensional and flat. Forms are 3-dimensional and have volume. Space is the area around lines, shapes, and forms. Negative space is the outside, and positive space is the inside of shapes and forms. So lines, shapes, forms, and space need to be grouped together. We cannot think of one without thinking of the others. These terms agree with curriculum-aligned mathematical terms. In a work of art, positive and negative spaces are both important. However, when we create artwork, we tend to focus more on the positive space than on the negative space. In this art exercise, we will focus mostly on negative space. Fill in the gray negative shapes only. Use different colors and textures. Designers love to work with negative space. On a separate paper, create your own graphic with negative space. Use letters or any other graphic symbol and focus on the negative space. Here are 2 more art exercises that help us to focus on positive and negative space. Make a flip book with a cutout circle. When you flip the page back and forth, positive and negative space will alternate in color. Next, try this classic art exercise for exploring positive and negative space. You will need 2 different pieces of paper that are 2 different colors. One piece should be half the size of the other. Draw a line that begins and ends on the center line and cut along the line. Flip the shape and place it symmetrically. Add another shape. Positive and negative spaces are balanced. In this exercise, we will explore the connections that we can make between positive and negative shapes. First, cut out the shapes. Arrange them on an 8 by 8 inch paper. Do not overlap the shapes with each other. The shapes may overlap with the edge of the paper. Trim the edges if necessary. Pay special attention to the space in between the shapes. The negative space will become just as important as the shapes themselves. Try it again. There are endless possibilities. Thomson is a famous Canadian artist. Let's take a look at how he used positive and negative space in his painting. In this painting, the dark-colored trees are the positive spaces, and the sky and the background are the negative spaces. Notice how Thomson created silhouette shapes with a positive space and focused on the interesting shapes, colors, and textures of the negative space between the branches. Let's try it. Draw two curved lines connecting point A with point A and point B with point B. Make the lines overlap. Fill the negative and positive spaces with different colors. We can see that when we create artwork, it is important to consider both the positive and negative space. M.C. Escher is a famous artist. He created tessellations with shapes and spaces that fit together. In this artwork, the bird shapes and the fish shapes switch from positive to negative spaces as the viewer's eye moves up and down. M.C. Escher often used this clever trick in his mathematically inspired artwork. Let's try it. A tessellation is made with repeating modules that fit together in a grid. Make a tracer that can be used as a module within the grid provided. Start with a square that is the same size as a grid cell. Subtract a shape from one side of your square and add it to the opposite side. Repeat this on the vertical side of your square. Trace and repeat your module in your grid. We can see that artwork can be integrated with mathematics. Let's look at how famous artists use the element of space to create meaning in their artwork. Andrew Wyeth is a famous artist. This painting is called Christina's World. The woman is separated from the house by vast amount of space. Could this represent her separation from other people? Michelangelo is a famous artist. He created a feeling of anticipation in this painting by leaving a small space between the two outstretched fingers. This treatment of space is often called a stress point. Banksy is a famous artist. In this painting, a caption says, "There is always hope." Similarly to Michelangelo's painting, there is a small space between the girl's outstretched hand and the escaping balloon. Does this stress point give us a message about hope? Let's try it. Start by choosing a picture that has meaning for you. Use the shape provided as a stencil to trace and cut out your picture to the correct size. Add it to the image provided. Fill in the blank for meaning. In this artwork, the hand represents mankind. In this example, the image of the polar bear in the balloon represents environmental concerns. The small space between the outstretched hand and the balloon string is called a stress point. In this example, the stress point has created a feeling of anxiety between the two subjects, mankind and environmental concerns. What subject and meaning will you choose? The possibilities are endless. Tell me about your artwork with space in the comments below.